back to Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Monday, May 7th, 2018. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. Spoiler alert for anyone who might have been living under a rock for the last 25 years. But the character Jafar in the Disney movie Aladdin is probably one of the most underrated badass movie villains of all time. And do you know what other badass feels like he might be a little underrated right about now? Well, how about 212 powerhouse Jafar Ghafarnezhad? After essentially coming out of nowhere to win the New Zealand Pro earlier this season, the Iranian juggernaut hasn't showed any signs of slowing down. The latest updates from Team Jafar show me a guy who has serious plans of being a factor on the Olympia stage later this season, assuming he gets a visa. And when you look at the tools that this guy brings to the table, once he touches down on that stage, there's a real possibility that things can start to get pretty interesting in a big hurry. Back when I lived in New York, it never ceased to amaze me how a little bit of warm weather could breathe new life into people just like that. And if you need an example of what I'm talking about, then look no further than New York's own living, breathing superhero, Maxx Charles. Last weekend, Mad Max was spotted destroying another epic chest workout 2 weeks out from the New York Pro, where he'll look to make amends for a tough outing back at the Arnold Classic. When he's focused and on his game, Maxx Charles is an electric athlete to watch when he's up there. So hopefully he'll be feeling energized by the warm weather and the buzz of the building, so we get to see one of those vintage Mad Max performances on one of the sport's biggest stages. In this world, no one ever gets what they deserve. They only get what they earn. So that probably explains why Wendy Fortino has been such a beast in the figure division over the past few seasons. Saturday morning, Fortino dropped a clip from one of her last back training sessions just before she hits the stage for the Pittsburgh Pro, which has been like a home away from home for the perennial Olympian over the last few years. Once again, Fortino and her crew have gotten out of the gates strong here in the early part of the season. But don't be too surprised if they end up saving the best for last as they really get it rolling down the next part of the contest schedule. From my experience, hard work always seems to bridge the gaps that talent can't quite carry you to. So I guess it's no surprise then that classic physique all-star Arash Rahbar has earned the reputation as one of the hardest working men in the business. Late Friday night, Rahbar dropped a clip from another brutal leg assault by way of some heavy hack squats. For all intents and purposes, the look that we saw Rahbar bring together at the Arnold Classic was the most complete from front to back of his entire career. But when you're driven by a work ethic that doesn't quit like this guy is, all that second place means that there is still room to work harder and keep improving. It's always a scary thing when a guy with elite talent carries a chip on his shoulder. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about, all you have to do is take a good hard look at Exhibit A, men's physique all-star Andre Ferguson. Despite the fact that he started his season off as good as anyone could ever hope for, Ferguson is still out there grinding it out day in and day out like a guy who's got something to prove. To his credit, this sort of underdog mentality has probably been the sole driving factor that's elevated him to the top of the sport. But whether or not that'll be enough to climb the top of the massive peak of Mount Olympus still remains to be seen. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.